Dad didn't warm up to conversations he never had. On a humid July evening in Savannah, Georgia, he simply wiped his hands on a dish towel, turned toward me, and said, "We're hosting Megan's engagement party that month. Just move your wedding, Anna." I froze. At 32, I had learned to brace myself for his bluntness, but this hit harder than usual. Not once did he ask whether I could move it. Not once did he consider deposits, vendors, or what the date meant to me. Megan, my 27-year-old sister, didn't make it easier. She leaned against the kitchen island, flashing that practiced Instagram-ready smile, twisting her diamond ring like she was showing it to an invisible audience. "It won't be a big deal, right?" she said, voice dipped in honey. "My engagement party is important for the family." Family. Apparently, I was only an accessory to that concept. Heat rushed to my cheeks, but I swallowed it and kept my expression calmer than Megan expected. Her smirk faltered when I replied, "Sure. I understand." Dad exhaled in relief. Mom clattered plates onto the table, muttering about scheduling. They believed I'd fold, the way I always had. But that night, everything shifted. In my room, my phone buzzed with notifications. Somehow, I'd been added to the family group chat, a place I was usually excluded from unless there was a holiday photo involved. Megan must have tapped my name by mistake. Messages were flooding in. "Mom, good thing," Anna agreed. Her wedding was going to be pretty modest anyway. "Aunt Cheryl, and that last name she's taking, Calloway. Isn't that connected to something huge?" My pulse skipped. "Dad?" I checked. "Calloway as in Calloway Maritime? Is her fiancé really one of them?" "Megan. No way. Anna would have told us." I typed. "You never asked." More messages popped up, spiraling, frantic. Then Aunt Mel delivered the spark. "If she marries him, doesn't that make her a Calloway too?" Typing bubbles exploded across the screen. "Mom, we need to talk to her. Now." "Dad. This changes everything." "Megan, what if her wedding overshadows my engagement?" I finally answered. "Too late. The marriage license is filed. I'll be Anna Calloway soon." The group chat went silent. Completely still. Not a single bubble for almost a full minute, long enough to feel like the entire house was holding its breath. Then the messages erupted. "Dad. Anna, come downstairs. Now." I walked into the living room with the calmest expression I had ever worn. Megan stood frozen, gripping her phone like it had betrayed her. Mom looked pale, as if she'd just discovered a hurricane forming over the coastline. Dad's jaw clenched so tightly I could hear the tension in the air. "Why didn't you tell us who he really is?" Mom asked, voice trembling. I lifted one shoulder. "You never cared enough to ask." Megan's composure cracked. "Do you realize what this does to my weekend?" she snapped. I smiled, slow and steady. "No. This is just the first time you've realized I'm not the small one in the family anymore." Dad swallowed. "So you're really marrying a Calloway?" "Yes. And you didn't think we deserved to know?" "Oh, don't worry," I said softly. "You'll know everything soon." Their confusion was almost cinematic. Because they had no idea that Ethan, not just any Calloway, was the heir to the Calloway Maritime Empire. And once my new last name began circulating, their neatly controlled little world would shudder. Dad paced like he was preparing a press statement rather than speaking to his daughter. Mom wrung her hands. Megan glared as if I'd stolen her spotlight and set a match to it. "Anna," Dad finally said, "you need to understand how this looks. The Calloway name carries influence." Mom interjected. "Power," Megan snapped. I leaned against the doorway, unbothered. "And that bothers you because?" Megan scoffed. "Please. If people find out you're marrying a Calloway, all anyone will talk about is your wedding while my engagement party is happening. That ruins everything." There it was. The truth. Not concern. Not love. Just ego. Mom stepped forward. "We're not saying don't marry him. We're just saying the timing is bad. Maybe postpone the announcement until after Megan's party." I lifted an eyebrow. "What announcement?" Dad hesitated. "That your last name is changing." I shook my head. "I didn't plan a reveal. I wasn't hiding anything." Megan narrowed her eyes. "Then why didn't you tell us?" "Because," I said quietly, "you never asked. You never cared enough to ask." And before you say anything else, I didn't marry for money or status. I find have to simmer on made it effort oo. Ethan wasn't the billionaire heir headline my family suddenly cared about. To me, he was the man who changed my flat tire on I-95 at almost 11 p.m., when every friend I called had already gone to bed. That was who he was long before I learned his last name meant anything. Dad muttered. Still. He's a Calloway. Yeah, I replied, and I'm about to be one too. Megan actually stomped her foot and honest to God, stomped like a frustrated child. This isn't fair. Mom reached for her arm. Sweetheart, calm down. No. Megan snapped. This is my weekend, and she's ruining it. Just tell her to move her wedding. I inhaled slowly, feeling every ounce of disrespect sharpen inside me. My wedding isn't moving. Not an inch. Dad straightened. Anna. No, I cut in. You asked me to sacrifice something that means everything to me so Megan could have her moment. I agreed to keep the peace. But I'm not changing my date. Megan's face twisted. You're doing this to overshadow me. I have commented it as. A quiet laugh escaped me. Your engagement party isn't even in the same weekend as my wedding. The only person causing drama is you. Before she could fire back, my phone buzzed. Ethan. I answered and immediately put him on speaker. Hey, he said, his calm voice shifting the entire energy in the room. Everything okay? Dad's posture snapped upright. We're talking, I said. They know. A short pause, then Ethan exhaled. Good. I already told my parents. They'd like to meet yours before the family announcement goes out tomorrow morning. Dad practically choked. Mom's eyes widened. Megan looked like her thoughts were buffering. Announcement. Mom whispered. Yeah. Ethan continued, loud enough for all of them to hear. The announcement about Anna joining the Calloway family. PR already drafted it. Megan staggered back a step. Dad sank into the nearest chair. Sounds good, I told him. I'll be there. Love you, Ethan said. Love you too. I ended the call. Silence spread through the room like smoke. Megan finally whispered. Is this actually happening? Oh yes, I said softly. And you haven't even seen the real surprise yet. Their panic was quiet now, shaky, uncertain. Exactly what I felt every time they dismissed me. But now, the balance had finally shifted. The next morning, sunlight barely brushed my window before my phone lit up again, more notifications than I'd seen in my entire life. Calls. Missed calls. Voicemails. Group chats I didn't even remember being in. Megan, why didn't you tell me the Calloway family had a PR team? Mom, honey, please call us. We need to talk before anything goes public. Dad. We need to meet this morning. Urgent. Urgent. Everything suddenly became urgent now that they'd realized I mattered. I took my time getting ready. Natural makeup, soft waves, a simple blue blouse, nothing dramatic, nothing flashy. Just enough to look like someone who no longer needed permission to exist. When I came downstairs, Dad was already planted on the living room sofa, posture rigid, as if he'd practiced a script. Mom sat beside him, fingers laced too tightly. Megan paced back and forth like a squirrel fueled by caffeine. The moment she saw me, Megan rushed forward. Do you know what people are saying? Do you understand how this makes me look? I raised a brow. No one knows anything yet. The announcement hasn't gone out. But it will, she snapped. And then everyone will act like your wedding is more important than my engagement. Mom tried to intervene gently. Sweetheart, we're just asking you to delay the announcement until after Megan's party. I laughed quiet, sharp. You're asking me to be invisible. Again. Dad exhaled. We're not trying to make you invisible, Anna. Yes, you are, I said, steady and clear. And I'm done letting you. If you want a time break to vision. Dad opened his mouth, ready with another excuse, but 3 slow, authoritative knocks hit the front door. Megan went pale. Oh my God. Who is that? Dad stood as if a news crew might be outside. He opened the door and froze. Standing there, in a tailored navy suit, was Nathan Calloway, patriarch of the Calloway Maritime Empire. Beside him stood Ethan, effortlessly confident in a gray blazer, hands in his pockets. Dad's voice cracked. Mr. Calloway. Nathan smiled politely. Please call me Nathan. Mom gasped like she'd been given air. Megan's jaw dropped to the floor. I stepped forward. Ethan's expression softened the instant he saw me. Morning, he murmured, pressing a gentle kiss to my forehead. Nathan stepped inside, surveying the room with the steady calm of a man who had led boardrooms through storms far bigger than family tension. Thank you for meeting with us on such short notice, he said. We wanted to do things properly. Dad swallowed hard. Of course. Please. Come in. Everyone sat, everyone except Megan, who hovered behind Mom like she might collapse if she stopped moving. Nathan rested his hands on his knee with quiet authority. As you probably heard, he began, our family's PR department plans to release a small announcement regarding Anna's upcoming marriage to my son. Mom's eyes darted nervously. A small announcement? Yes, Nathan replied warmly. Just a formal acknowledgement, nothing extravagant. I have not has. It's activention. Dad cleared his throat. We're honored. Truly honored. We just weren't prepared. Ethan glanced at me, then said gently, Anna hasn't always felt supported here. Silence fell heavy, unmistakable. Dad opened his mouth to defend himself, but Nathan lifted a hand. Polite. Firm. I don't mean to intrude on personal matters, he said, but I want you to understand something. My son chose Anna for who she is, not for our name. Her kindness, her responsibility, her strength, our family values those qualities deeply. My chest tightened. No one had ever spoken about me like that in front of my own family. Megan blinked rapidly. Well, we didn't know. She didn't tell us. Nathan looked at her with a gentle, fatherly patience. Respect doesn't require you to know someone's status. It requires you to value them without conditions. Dad lowered his gaze. Mom's shoulders tensed. Megan had no comeback at all. Ethan slid his hand into mine. We're not here to cause conflict. We just want honesty going forward. Nathan nodded. And we'd like both families involved with mutual respect. Dad finally exhaled. You're right. Absolutely right. He turned to me. Anna. We didn't treat you fairly. I'm sorry. The words were stiff but genuine. Mom added, voice cracking. We should have celebrated you more. Megan hesitated, then stepped forward. I'm sorry too. I was jealous. I shouldn't have been. I'm 7 tells have IS teen craze. In 4 tells has. I held my breath for a moment before answering. Thank you, I said softly. I appreciate the apology, but you all need to understand something. They looked at me, Dad, Mom, Megan, Nathan, Ethan. I'm not dimming myself anymore. Not for anyone. Not even family. Ethan squeezed my hand. Nathan smiled with quiet approval. Dad nodded slowly, the weight of realization settling on his shoulders. You're right, he said. You deserve more. Megan exhaled sharply. So, what now? I took a deep breath. Now? You focus on your engagement and I'll focus on my wedding. No competition. No disrespect. Just family. The word felt different coming out of my mouth, like it finally meant something other than hierarchy and comparison. Nathan stood. Then it seems both families have a good year ahead. Dad shook his hand with both of his. Mom pulled me into a sudden hug. After a hesitant beat, Megan joined her. And for the first time in years, it didn't feel forced. Ethan leaned down and whispered, Told you things would shift. I smiled. Yeah. But you didn't tell me it would feel this good. The days leading up to Megan's engagement party passed in a kind of calm that felt almost surreal. No comparisons. No requests for me to shrink or step aside. It was like stepping into a different version of my own family, and honestly, I welcomed it. The morning of the party, Mom knocked softly on my door, as though uncertain whether she had permission. Come in, I said. She peeked in, holding a pastel gift bag. I got you something. For me? I asked, surprised. She nodded. Just a small gift. I realized I've spent so many years celebrating everyone else while barely seeing you. I'm trying to fix that. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet, simple and engraved with one word. Loved? My throat tightened. Thank you, Mom. I tacted actions of Round. She hugged me. Really hugged me. You always were. The engagement party was held at the family clubhouse, glowing with twinkling lights and elegant floral displays. Megan looked beautiful in soft lilac, glowing with excitement, not insecurity for once. When Ethan and I arrived, heads turned. Not because of the Calloway name, but because we walked in confident, united, happy. Megan rushed over first. You came. I laughed. It's your day. Of course I did. She bit her lip. I wanted to talk to you before everything starts. We stepped aside near one of the decorated arches draped in lilac and champagne ribbons. Megan took a shaky breath. I was awful to you, she said, her voice unsteady. You didn't deserve any of it. I got so focused on trying to be the favorite that I forgot you were my sister. Not my competition. I exhaled slowly. I just wanted respect. That's all I ever needed. You have it now, she said firmly. And you won't lose it again. Not from me. We hugged, and for the first time since childhood, it felt real. Halfway through the party, Dad stepped onto the small stage near the DJ booth and tapped the microphone. The music softened. My heart clenched on instinct, preparing for the kind of comment that used to shrink me. But instead, he turned toward me. Anna, he began, voice steady. We haven't always treated you as the strong, capable woman you are. We were wrong. And I want everyone here to know we are incredibly proud of you. A stunned hush rippled across the room as guests turned my way. Dad continued, and we are thrilled to welcome the Calloway family into ours. Ethan, Nathan, your entire family, thank you for valuing our daughter the way she deserves. Ethan squeezed my hand as applause swelled around us, warm, genuine. Even Megan whistled. Dad stepped down and came straight to me, placing a hand on my shoulder. I mean every word. From now on, we do better. Thank you, I whispered. Later, when the party softened into laughter and soft music, Ethan and I slipped onto the balcony. Savannah's lights shimmered below, warm air brushing against us like a quiet blessing. He tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. So, he teased, think your family will survive being connected to mine? I laughed. Barely. But they'll adjust. He leaned closer. And you? How are you doing? I looked back through the glass, my parents talking with Nathan, Megan laughing with guests, everyone treating me like I belonged. I'm good, I said softly. Really good. Ethan kissed my forehead. You earned this peace, Anna. I smiled. And a new last name. He grinned. Mrs. Calloway soon? Soon. We stood there quietly, holding hands as the warm July breeze carried away the last remnants of old bitterness. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the overlooked girl. I was the woman who stood her ground, claimed her place, and walked away with something far better than revenge: a healed future and a love that honored me. If my story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me in the comments what part hit home the most, and if you think I made the right choice standing up for myself after years of being overlooked. Your support means more than you know. And if you're facing a similar situation, here's my advice. Don't shrink yourself to keep the peace. Family shouldn't require you to disappear to earn love. Stand your ground with grace, protect your heart, and choose the life that honors who you truly are. You deserve that, just like I finally learned I do.